Cool, so I'm excited about this video right here because a lot of subscribers have been commenting and asking me to do this. It's a before and after picture right here of I like to call it a blowout, or you can call it a taper, temple taper. Depending where you're from, you're going to call it something different, more than likely. So right now I'm using my Andis bgrc detachable clipper. I got the 000 blade with a number 4 guard attached, and we're going against the grain all the way around the head. Sometimes I go across the grain just to make sure it's even, just to cross check. And sometimes I'll even wet the hair up, brush it down real good so it lays down, so that when I'm cutting it's catching, all the hairs. Brush it down real good. Lay that hair down. So let's go ahead and start balding out our first guidelines. We're going to do the back about a ½ inch up, make it nice and clean, and that'll be our first guideline. And I got my Andis Masters. I'm using my favorite clippers pretty much, and we got those all the way open, about an inch up. Stay clean and organized, I always like to say. And now the blade is all the way closed. We're going up about a ¼ inch. And my Andis they're not completely zero gap, but they're as close to comfort as I like it. And it normally will knock out that first guideline. So we're going to go ahead and open the blade up 1 notch from the closed position, go up about another ¼ inch until we get closer and closer to that guideline that we made, that dark guideline. Now we open up a third to the 3rd notch from the closed position, and that will pretty much blend it into the blade all the way open, as you can see. But just to make sure, we'll open up the blade and pass it one more time. Open the blade all the way open just to make sure it's nicely blended, as you can see. And the next step is the number 1 guard, or the 1/8, and that's all the way open, and we're going up about an inch. Now from here on the blowout, you can go straight to the number 1 guard closed and remove some bulk. Just don't go past that guideline that you made. Now I got the number 2 guard all the way open. And then the same thing that you did with the number 1 guard, where you just went straight to closed position, you can go from the number 2 guard open straight to the number 2 guard closed and start removing some of that bulk. And I'm pointing out that little guideline that's still there. Hit it with that number 1 guard open. Use the corners of your teeth, and you can see it disappears. Now you see we still have that line, that demarcation. So I got the number 3 guard all the way open. Since the majority of the top of his head is a number 4 guard, that 3 open should blend right into the 4, right? And then the number 3 closed should blend right into the 2 open. As you can see, we got a nice transition in that area now. And now we're going to go, or at least I think I'm going to, go back to that. Yeah, there we go. Go back to the number 0 guard, right? And we're going to start knocking out that demarcation right there. And the number 0 guard is closed. And as I go up, this is where we do the whole trial and error thing. As I'm going up, obviously I'm opening the blade. As I go down, obviously I'm closing the blade. But that number 0 guard is going to connect everything together. And the number 0 guard is usually like the 1/16. As you can see, that number 0 guard really does bring everything together. And then, of course, like I always do, I spend a little bit more time detailing the haircut. I'll probably take off that number 0 guard, and just with the blade open, I'll open and close it, till I get the result that I want, or that I believe in. And here you go, no guard, detailing the blend. And I'm opening and closing it according to what I see in the haircut. You start to develop that barber's eye the more haircuts that you do. And there's no better barber's eye than the mirror. tell you guys all the time. If you're not checking your mirror, you're doing your haircuts an injustice. You're making it harder for yourself. And more than likely, when somebody comes out to see and there's a different lighting or something that hits the haircut, you're going to see stuff that you didn't see while they were in the chair. Avoid that headache and check your mirrors. Also, a trick here is make sure they're looking down or that they're stretching out, because when they look down they stretch out the skin in the back of the neck, right? Sometimes there's holes back there and it's hard to blend it unless they stretch their neck out, right? So that you can really have a flat surface and you can really blend it and get into those holes otherwise, because when he looks up, that's when you start seeing a canvas that's not flat, right? If you guys could kind of understand what I was saying. So yeah, I make sure they look down and they're stretching out their skin so that's a flat surface. And there's nothing wrong with putting guards back on, taking them off. You listen to the clipper if it's cutting hair or not, and you adjust accordingly. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you're just starting out. Really focus on mastering the haircuts and don't be in a rush. Speed will come as you master these cuts. Alright, so now we're gonna bald out the side. And I start the balding right about where the top of the ear connects to the head. So one thing that's important, once you start making your next guideline with the masters all the way open, is I start blending from the bottom of the sideburn up to the top of the next guideline. And as you can see, I'm at the third notch. Then I move to the second notch, and by blending this way, I'm in one motion blending the sideburn into the bald area, but I'm also blending the blowout into the bald area where I'm blending into his head. So that's a little trick that I do to kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? Alright, so now we got the number one guard all the way open, and we're creating our next guideline, going up about a half inch, and you're cutting against the grain. Um, you want to blend so that it doesn't look like there's a bulk right behind the ear as well. This is a number two guard all the way open. And now it's closed, and we're gonna knock out that bolt. Normally it'll connect the one open with the number two, but if there's still a little bit of demarcation, we'll go back with the number one guard all the way open using the corners of the teeth to take out that demarcation. This is the number three all the way open, and obviously since it's a four on top, that's gonna blend everything into the number four. So you go from the number three open to the number three closed, and that'll connect the 2.5 or the two open to the number four, which is on top, right? I also like to cut right behind the ear with the 3 or the 3.5, just to get a nice tapered look. So now we'll start connecting the obviously the half or the andis blade all the way open, the line that we created to the one open with the number 0 guard, right? Using the corners of the teeth, and we're starting from the top of that guideline and we're blending it downwards. And it, if there's any demarcations that we created with that number 0 guard, we can clean it. We can always clean it up with that number 1 guard closed, right? So here's where we're gonna connect everything together. Got the blade open, and we're just opening and closing it according to what is appropriate, what is needed to create this blend. Using the trial and error method, of course. And you can see everything is starting to come together. The steps are simple. They're almost the same as when you're doing a regular bald fade. You're just positioning your guidelines in a different area, in a different angle. And you can get creative with it. A lot of people, they like to leave it darker near the outline or the hairline, so that when you line up that sideburn, it really pops. A lot of customers, they like it real skin, real tight, so they don't mind it not connecting all the way to the sideburn when you line it up. This is how this particular client likes it. He's been coming to me for almost 5 years now, so it's been working for me. And now I'm just going back, and you can see the guards that I'm putting on through the captions. And I'm cleaning things up, and I'm trying to perfect it as much as I can without looking at the mirror, obviously, because I can't turn them because I want you guys to see what I'm doing, right? But I'll go back probably before, before I'm done editing everything, and make sure that I look at everything, and you'll see the end result at the end of the video, right? Okay, so right here I'm blow drying the hair after I wet it to really straighten that hair out. Because if I'm going to start lining this individual up, I want to make sure, since his hair is long, that his hair is laying down, and that bed head isn't, messing with the haircut. Right here, I sprayed a medium holding spray, not a spritz, but a medium holding spray around the hairline, and I blow dried it, right? And the reason why I did that is so that it will hold those long hairs, those curly hairs around his hairline. It'll hold them in place, right? So they're not moving when I'm trying to line them up. And I'll start lining it up. I use the corners of the blade, obviously. And if you watch any of my other videos, you understand, my whole system when I line people up. I do create guidelines. My trimmers are not zero gapped. They're close, but they're not zero gapped. I want to be able, I set my trimmers to where I could put it on the back of somebody's neck, and I can put it on the front of somebody's hairline, and it'll still be a sharp line, as you can see. Without irritating the back of the neck, it still leaves a sharp line. And I can use these trimmers on kids. I have one trimmer in my whole arsenal. One trimmer that I use, right? Because I know that the razor blade, if I need it to be closer, you can't get no closer than a razor blade, right? So when I line up the front hairline, I look for the highest naturally receding point, and I line that up and I leave it as natural as possible. That's my guideline. And then I just connect the dots, As you can see, the holding spray's holding this hair in place, because the number 4 is pretty long. If I didn't put that holding spray, those hairs would want to curl away from me. They'd want to run away from me. I'd have to keep combing over and over and over again just to, catch those hairs. And when you're doing the side of his hairline, make sure you leave it at its natural angle. Don't try to line it up so that it's straight down, because when you look at somebody front faced, it's gonna look like, almost like a hexagon look, his hairline. Right? Those sides are gonna be flaring out. It's gonna look straight from the side, but when you look from the front, the hairline's gonna be all jacked up. So I start from the top, right, of that C cup, and I go to the bottom of where the sideburn is, and then right in the middle, I do that C cup, and I connect the two together. And that's what I mean by using guidelines. And again, check your mirrors. Make sure those corners match up. Make sure, everything is aligned and not crooked. Again, you want to hold that ear down. Use the corner of the blade to line up behind the ear. Don't nick people's ears and have them bleeding all over the place. And guys, please feel free to comment. Feel free to ask questions. I don't I have a lot of fun with this, man. I don't mind answering questions. I just want to create a community, where we can talk and kind of throw our ideas and help each other out. It's all barber love. And then when I'm doing the back, when I'm lining up the back of the neck, I also make them look over so that the neck stretches, so I can get, I can line it up pretty low. So when you're doing the razor blade, right here I'm dry shaving, pulling the skin tight, going against the grain. And I do this for any type of hair. As long as you're stretching the skin and the hair isn't too coarse and too hard of a shave, and you're not passing over the same spot over and over again, irritating the skin and causing it to become inflamed, you should be straight with bumps and stuff. And I look, and right here, I'm going what I thought was against grain, but as I look closer, it's not. So I'll flip that razor over and clean it up. And right here, I must have seen something in the mirror, so I'm going back. There's nothing wrong with going back. Your customers will appreciate it. They'll notice it, and they'll see your attention to detail. You know. And right there, I was actually going against the grain. He has like a widow's peak there that grows upwards, so I was going against the grain right there. And like I said, I'm pulling the skin as I'm shaving, and I like to use my pinky as a brace, my pink on the hand that I'm holding the razor, just to brace myself, just to create stability. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, so I mean, I hope this is the haircut you guys been trying to get a tutorial on. Hope this helps. And you pretty much can use these same steps with whatever however long the hair is. Use the same steps, and if it's real long on the on the top, if it's like curly or something, then from the number 3 open, you can just do clipper over comb to connect it, or scissor over comb to connect it, or skip guard it. There's all kinds of techniques. So that's pretty much the finished product, man. And we're gonna apply some elegance gel. I love the smell of this gel. We're gonna put that on there, make him feel good, style him up, and that's the finished product. And it might not be the best thing in the world, but this guy, he comes back to me all the time, and he shows me a lot of love. So shows me I'm doing something right. Oh, and after I apply the gel, I will brush the front of the hair down, because you'll see some hairs that want to hang over, and I'll just tap those up real quick. And of course, I put some aftershave, some good smelling aftershave. None of that cheap stuff. Put some good smelling aftershave on there. Dab my boy up. We out. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share, you comment, subscribe. Follow me on IG.